Hi Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's maths lesson. More fractions for you today. Today we're going to look at simplifying fractions. But before I explain that to you, let's have a go at 3 questions based on yesterday's lesson. So finding equivalent fractions. Let's do the first one together. If I was going to find the equivalent fraction to 4/10, and I needed to have a 2 here as my numerator, I'm thinking to myself, how have I got from 4 to 2? By timesing or dividing. I've divided by 2. So I need to do the same to the bottom as I did to the top. So the equivalent to 4/10 would be 2/5. Pause me there and have a go at the next two and see if you can remember how to find equivalent fractions. Okay, hopefully you got that your answers were 1/3 is equivalent to 3/9 because we're timesing by 3. And hopefully you found that 2/3 is equivalent to 8/12 because if we start here and go backwards, we're dividing by 4. Today then, we are going to simplify fractions. Now, simplifying fractions means bringing them down to their lowest possible form. So we are still talking about equivalent fractions, still talking about fractions that are the same as each other, but bringing them down to their simplest form so that the numbers in the fractions are the smallest they can possibly be. I'm going to use this fraction wall to help us simplify. In the documents on the website under today's lesson, you will find a PDF of a fraction wall. So if you think that will help you, you can grab that either for working along the virtual lesson or for when you do your activity later, you can go and have a look at that fraction wall because it might help. It shows you different fractions up to tenths making 1. So the whole strip is 1 and then each line is a different fraction. So you've got 1 whole, 2 halves making 1, 3/3 making 1, and so on and so on. So if we want to use the fraction wall to help us find equivalent fractions, and we can use it to simplify, I will show you how to do it. So if I want 5/10, I'm going to have a look and get a line. I'm going to have a look at where 5/10 is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I draw a line at the end of 5/10, I'm going to be able to see anything else that is equivalent. Okay, so we've got 5/10 there. That is also the same as, so if I look in nines, it's not the same as any nines because it hits in the middle. It's the same as 4/8. Doesn't work for the sevens. It's the same as 3/6. It's the same as 2/4. And it's the same as 1/2. Okay, so all of those are equivalent fractions. So 5/10, 4/8, 3/6, 2/4, and 1/2. All of these are equivalent. You should notice, because they're all equivalent to 1/2, you should notice that in each one, the numerator is half of the denominator. Now, if I wanted to simplify it to its lowest form, I am picking the equivalent fraction which has the smallest numbers in it. That's been broken down to its simplest, smallest form. So they are all the same. They're all 1/2. They all take up about the same amount of space on the fraction wall. But the simplest one, the lowest numbers in it, is 1/2. So if you were asked to simplify 5/10, you would simplify it down to 1/2. Okay, let's move the line now. Let's delete it and start again. So if I'm going to do 6/10, I'll find where 6/10 are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to draw my line there this time and see if I can find any equivalent fractions and use that to simplify. So just like before, this is 6/10. Now I'm looking up And I'm seeing if I can see anything, if it's the same as anything else. And it is. It's the same as 3/5. And that's the only one on my fraction wall that is the same as this time. Now, I can say that these two fractions are equivalent, and I can say that to simplify 6/10 would be 3/5. Now, without using my fraction wall, I could get to this by dividing, just like we did with equivalent fractions at the beginning and yesterday. So if I'm trying to go from 6/10 to 3/5, I would be dividing both numbers by 2. We're going to do more of that in a second. If I look at this last one then, and I'm wondering now, can I simplify 5/7? So I'm going to find 5/7 on my fraction wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to draw my line there. Okay, and I will see that nothing is the same as 5/7. There's no other things that line up. And the reason is 5/7 can't be simplified. It is at its smallest level because there's nothing I can divide both of those numbers by. They don't have any similar factors. So that brings me on then to using common factors to simplify fractions. If I'm looking at these numbers here as fractions, 6/24, 8/36, 12/18, I can use a common factor to divide by to make the numerator and denominator smaller but keep an equivalent fraction. As long as you divide by the same number, your fraction will be equivalent. Pause the video here to go over your factors of each of these numbers. So grab a pen and paper and write me all the factors of 6, all the factors of 24, factors of 8, factors of 36, factors of 12, factors of 18. If you've forgotten, we can use a factor bug like this. If I'm doing my factors of 6, every number has factors of 1 and themselves. And then we go along 2. Is 6 in the 2 times table? Yes, it is. It's 2 times 3. And then I'll get to 3 and I'm finished. So pause me here and try to do factor bugs for all of those. Okay, so you should have the factors of 6 laid out and the factors of 24 laid out. Now you need to find the common factor. So which factor or which factors are in both bugs? Okay, you will find that there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 6. And we want to use the highest common factor. So we're going to use 6. Okay, and we're going to divide by 6. Okay, both numbers. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So 6/24 is equivalent to 1/4, and 6/24 simplified is 1/4. Once a fraction's got 1 as its numerator, it's never going to get any smaller than that. 1's the smallest thing we can have. So we know we've simplified it. They won't always go down to 1, but if they are at 1, we know we've come to the end. Let's think about 8 and 36. If you've got your factor bugs beside you, you should see that there are, again, some numbers that are factors of both. You're going to have 1, we're not going to use that. You're going to have 2, you're going to have 4. The highest common factor of 8 and 36, will be 4. So we're going to divide both by 4. So we found that highest common factor. And then we use that to divide. And we must do the same to the top and bottom, otherwise it won't be equivalent. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So 2/9 is my simplified version. And last one then, 12 and 18. If you looked at your factor bugs, you should find that the highest common factor, the highest one of the factors that are in both would be 6. So I'm going to divide both by 6, same to the top as to the bottom. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So that is the equivalent and simplest form. Okay. So let's have a quick go at these. Another example, 27 over 36. In this case, the highest common factor has been given to you. And then in this version, 16 over 40, to simplify it down, you're going to need to find all the factors of 16, all the factors of 40, and then pick the highest one to divide by. Pause me there and have a go at both those examples. Okay, so this one is all laid out for you, so it should have been a little bit easier. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 36 divided by 9 is 4. So simplified it down to 3/4. For this one, you should have got your factors of 16 and 40, and hopefully you will have found that the highest common factor is 8. So we divide both by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. And 40 divided by 8 is 5. So 2/5 would have been your answer there. Okay, I hope that that has been helpful to show you how you simplify fractions by using common factors. Your turn to go and have a proper go at it now on your own. There's going to be some different sheets available. So there is an easier sheet and there is a challenge sheet. All right, so the main sheet just says simplifying fractions. It's going to be about giving you fractions, you find the highest common factor, you simplify it. If that's all a bit hard, try the easier one, and it's just going to have some more simple questions, and it's going to be using that fraction wall rather than your factors. There is a challenge where you can either begin at that challenge, or what I would suggest you do is start in the middle, and then if that's been easy, do your challenge. Your challenge is a lot more about thinking about how different numbers could work and giving some different possibilities for simplifying fractions and missing numbers. Have a go. As always, if you're stuck with anything, please drop me an email. I'd love to see how successful you've been with your sheets, but if you're finding things hard, send me an email and I can explain things a little bit further or maybe drop you something a bit easier. Well done for following along with the lesson today, and I will see you in the next lesson.